Well, this goes out to Casey Groves. It's time to let the cat out of the bag. He asked me, what I was using for a three-dimensional type of camouflage on my bow. But we're going to dive into this much, much deeper. and it all started a number of years ago, working with a good friend of mine, Glenn Doherty. And then Glenn had passed away, and I started reading a lot and really tapping into guys that are some of the best assaulters in the world. And then I ended up meeting my good friend Eddie. And Eddie started teaching me things about your color combinations that you use and how critical camouflage really was, on top of just my own interest in it. And there isn't enough out there, and most hunters really feel like it's not that important, and they buy a lot of store-bought type of commercial grade camouflage that I think is inadequate for the field. So without further ado, let's dive in. So this is what I had purchased. This is your ghillie tracker kit, and this comes with an assortment of colors, and I chose this particular bag with these colors. And you can research those and find those colors as well. I'm going to go over 4 that I really liked, and this has a lot of lighter colors in it. As you can see, it's got some white, some of the sage color, brown, and one piece of black. Now I'll custom go in there and pull those, if there's too many blacks in it, I'll pull them out. Black is great for shadows, but when you're building a ghillie suit, but I really, because I'm mainly out west, and you've got Alberta, South Dakota, and Utah, Colorado, those type of states, I like the lighter colors, and it's very important to be lighter than darker. If you stay in the shadows where you're supposed to be, you will have a much easier time, and your camouflage will get darker. You don't want to start dark and then get darker. And the colors I really like is this nice light sand color. I really like that. The coyote brown is really nice as well. And then this is a little bit more like a fresh green foliage that would be coming out in the early spring, and we're particularly hunting mule deer at that time of the year, and I really like that. The sage color is really nice, and I have a couple strands of sage in here. So I will start with 12 to 15 strands. I'll find halfway, and then I will loop that around the parachute cord. This particular cord, or ghillie, is made by Tactical Concealment. This is the inside of it, so I just wanted you to show you. It's a very open mesh, probably about a 16th to 8th inch hole in it, and then they sew on a tan color. Once again, tan is your best color in the field. And they'll also go with a tan parachute cord. That's about a 1/4 inch wide. And so I will loop that material around, 50% of it, and then I'll either tie in with rubber bands, or I'll use the same material and tie it off. And so you build this by hand. I've added some softer reddish colors in here, and you can see it's kind of knotted up. Well, this is when the synthetic material, which this is, which I strongly suggest because it has very, very low odor, and your real jute has a very strong pungent odor. And then you can also dye those colors, but I stayed away from it just because of that odor. So I tied in a bunch of shorter pieces. As you can see, that's definitely cut down, and I basically tied everything in, and then I went in and trimmed it, because obviously I'm using my weapon of choice is a bow. It has some arm sleeves. It has drawstring around the cloak, large cloak, and that's going to break up that outline here. My personal opinion is deer really recognize this shape, and in order to change that shape, it takes something like this. And you can put this on pretty easily, and I'll roll this up into when I carry it in my pack. And so I've got one chest clip here, and then I've got these drawstrings here, as you can see, and I'll just tighten those up a little bit. It's easy to tighten. Hold tight, tuck the tail, so I have no problems there on either side. And this tool right here is extremely dangerous, and the heavy cloak really breaks up that outline. And to do that is, I think, taking away for a deer or elk or antelope you're becoming a problem. And I always talk about becoming a problem in the field, and this is one of these pieces of tool that really help that. As you can see, it's short here. It's easy to draw. One tip I will say is you must practice with this. I've spent many hours practicing, and when you draw, so I would draw the bow like so, and I'd come in and I'd slide that knuckle across my cheek and get this out of the way. I want to make sure that this part of the cloak just stays out of the way so I can get through the shot. Now obviously when you're in the shot and you see this hanging here, you can move this out of the way. I might be in this position here, tuck that out of the way, looking over the top edge of my bow, looking through my Swarovskis, get that range, and then get ready to draw. But the critical part of a spot and stalk really lies in that 500 yards to 100 yards for me. This is when you can get blown out, and I don't want to get blown out. So then again, make sure when you and I strongly suggest trying this. This is fun. You sit down and you build this whole outfit and you have a good time doing it. But definitely try it in the field and see if it works for you. It's working for me. I haven't really shown it, revealed it, talked about it in 2 years of testing it. And that's what I'm supposed to do, is test this stuff. So you guys, like Casey, can take a look at a piece like this and say, man, is that something I want to do? The last thing I want to add is live veg. When you pick your live veg, meaning your branches, meaning green, your greenery, out in the field, you might have some pines that you might want to mix into this. You might want to have some weeds or grass, yellow grasses. And the same thing with those yellow grasses, you want to bunch them up and zip tie those in. I bought this little kit here that comes with a coyote, a gray, and a green. And they come in different thicknesses and sizes. And I just carry the small ones in my kit. Small zip ties, that is. And I'll zip tie that live veg in. And of course, the first place you want to focus that in is this outline here. And once you break that outline, I think you become a bigger problem out in the field. We are going to bring you 3 different parts to this. This is the first, and I'll show you what I've done with my hat and my main part of my chest rig, and then we will go into the field and I will show you how effective this tool is. I'm Anthony Dixon. Thanks for watching.